I had a mother who was a teacher and a father who was a salesman. And my father had great respect for education, along with my mother. So I felt that I never had a choice but to do well at school. For years, even in high school, I would listen to teachers, look at teachers, and think, I don't think I would do that if I were a teacher. And tried to put myself in the place, and I don't know why I did it. Even though my mother was a teacher, she taught elementary, and so I never was any part of her experience. But there was always in my mind, like, why did you do that? Or would I do that? And I somehow assumed then that that's what I was going to be as a teacher, or at least involved in education. My father did say that unless you go to a Christian college, I won't pay for it. I was accepted to go to Penn State, and he informed me that he wouldn't pay for it. Well, I didn't have any money. I had a couple scholarships, but that wouldn't cover it. So consequently, I went to a Christian college, and it turned out to be a very, very good experience. That's where I met my wife. The last place where we lived before here was St. Louis. And St. Louis was Midwest, but also had a Southern element to it. It has never been, oh, why did we come here, or anything like that. It's always been, we were really fortunate to be able to come here. When we interviewed, they had us both come, Pat and me both. She can always be a hit when it comes to an interview. And so I thought, shoot, that'll be a major help for me. And never did I really think we'd get it, because we were from the Midwest. And Southerners want Southerners in charge, believe it or not. And we, when we were told that we got it, both of us felt it was the right thing to do. And even at the end of our 20 years there, it was still the right thing to do. Becoming the president of an institution did not happen, the desire did not happen until probably I had been in higher ed for at least 10 or 12 years. There wasn't much in the way of visual arts at Brenau University at one time. And I do know that many people felt that would be an expense that we should not spend the money on buying art. So I knew then that I would, if I could convince people to give art, then there wouldn't be any sense of, oh, we can't afford that. And I decided to make some contact with very prominent art dealers in New York City. One of those was Leo Castelli, a man who probably had more influence in the art world in this country and in Europe than many, many other people. It was Leo who was their dealer, would say, I'm going to have you do a show at Brenau University. And of course, at the time, they didn't know where Brenau University was. But each one of them, at least one or two times that we did a show for them, came. And they loved the response of the people. And consequently, Brenau has art by all of those famous people and was never charged for it. Smithgalls, they wanted a garden here in Gainesville. And Smithgalls had the land that they could donate to the Botanical Garden in Atlanta. And Leslie told me to come and talk to her. And she said that was something that she wanted to see happen. And her husband was willing to okay the land, a certain amount of it, their property here in Gainesville, going to the garden. Then in the existing papers, when Leslie and Charlie were both gone, all of the Gainesville property goes to the garden. And consequently, that's what recently happened. The extra property of the Smithgalls now is all part of the Gainesville Botanical Garden, Atlanta. And consequently, it's just going to be a fabulous place. And it's so much, right now, the growth and the beauty of it is so important. And to think that Gainesville has it is just wonderful. And Atlanta can help convince me that I should help them raise the money for it and support it. And truly, it has been a treasure for the Gainesville, North Georgia area. The History Center to me was a challenge that I thought should and could be connected with a university and benefit both institutions. And the History Center, I also knew, or felt I knew, could benefit the educational program of the whole of Gainesville, North Georgia. And consequently, Brenau agreed that this land we would give to the History Center if we could get the money raised to build the History Center. Then the money had to be raised to pay for it, and it's paid for. So it has all worked out to make one believe, when you wanted it, that it was the right thing to do. I think the most pleasure and success was leading at Brenau University. Things really worked well while we were there.